weeks until the school year starts in South Florida, with this state's education issues front and center, even in the national news. From political drama over curriculum, 18 new laws affecting schools and classrooms in this state, and a critical teachers shortage. And with that backdrop, Miami-Dade Teachers Union has a tentative deal for pay raises. Broward Teachers Union is in the midst of that negotiation, and many took their ask. One actually begged the district for what they consider a living wage. Anna Fusco is the president of Broward Teachers Union, BTU, and is live with us today right here at the table. So nice to have you here.
Well, good morning. Thank you.
Good morning.
How's it going?
I love company here these days. I know I keep saying that. It's so nice to have people, and you've been very busy. Give us what's the status of these negotiations and Broward teachers, because the backdrop of this, and we were just reporting on one of the board members floating a $100,000 salary a year, which was deferred, and we could talk about that. But fill us in.
I'd love to talk about that one.
Okay.
So the bait and switch. Well, we're in negotiations right now. We've been asking since last school year to start early when we closed so late for last school year's raise and referendum split. So we got a new referendum starting these next 4 years. We came in.
Referendum, for anyone that doesn't know, referendum voters said, yes, we want to tax ourselves to give teachers a raise.
Right, and they did so graciously and so large, and again, we thank you. Thank you so much.
So now what happens to that? Where is
So we have
that?
two parts to our salary increase. That is a piece that's come from the tax dollars. The district puts out a suggestion of how they would like it split, and then they negotiate with the unions, which right now Broward Teachers Union, we did a pretty healthy counter, and it's public. It's we email our bargaining unit. So we had asked for the most veteran teachers, 10 years more experience and plus, of up to $12,000, and then everyone in between from years 1 to years 9, there could be a range from $2,000 to $6,000. So it wasn't an unhealthy ask. It's to show for the people that are here and that are staying, and the people that are in and with the minimal experience and willing to stay through all of the pieces that come to being an educator in Broward County Public Schools.
Right, so conceptually, I know the governor is bonusing new teachers to come to the state, one of the components of bringing teachers in. So conceptually, the focus on the administration is kind of new teachers, we want you, we value you, come, and here's a bonus for that. And to your point, people who have been in the profession 20 years, 30 years or more aren't really making much more money than they did when they were rookies. And I think anyone in any profession might look at that and say, that's problematic.
Right, well here's an example. Our first year teacher comes in making $48,925, and then our 17, 18-year teachers are making $52,000.
So the $100,000 a year per teacher that was floated by board member Alan Zeman, and our impression was it was kind of deferred, and they didn't say no, but that would have been $80,000 in salary and then $20,000 in benefits. And in a society, you fund where your values are. Where did that go? I mean, what was that discussion like among teachers?
Well, when school board member Zeman brought it to my attention a few weeks ago, I thought it sounded wonderful, and what do you do when you hear that? Well, what's the plan? So here you are, board member, you have the power to direct the CFO, you have the power to direct the powers that be to make sure it's in the budget, but what's the plan? Well, there was no real plan. So then we're listening and hearing. So it really was going to come off the backs of the already employees in Broward County Public Schools. They wanted to ask for employee contribution into our insurance, which is a benefit that we gravely need. We work in sick schools, we work in sick buildings, we work with sick children, we work with sick colleagues, and
health insurance to anyone is critical.
So I mean, we are a district that gets that benefit where the individual employee does not have to pay into the premium. Now, if you have a family and you have children, you pay into the premium, which is quite high.
And that was part of the calculation.
Well, and then wanted to increase our co-pays, increase our deductibles, and looking at closing schools, and then cutting other personnel, which we already have a critical shortage, not just in teachers, in every department. Looking at cutting custodial, looking at cutting clerical, looking at cutting other departments.
I'm watching your expression, but truthfully, let me just push back a little bit on this. if enrollment is down, what is the harm of reallocating resources and cutting what isn't being productive?
If it's truly down, so they work on creating the budget on predictions on what might be. There isn't a sole understanding of what our enrollment will be until they come into school, and we always have an influx after September because just for some reason it's just been the data, and then we have FTE. So we look at all of those calculations, and when I'm hearing some of my teachers, especially middle and high school, that they've already made the scheduling and they're seeing class sizes that are way over class size, is enrollment truly down? So until we're physically in the building, until we physically have those seats filled, we don't always know exactly what is considered low enrollment, and every school is different.
And this year I think is going to be particularly interesting because of one of the new laws and the vouchers that now everybody is entitled to see where people take their vouchers and what happens with the private schools and public schools. But and I want to talk about, before we run out of time.
Sure.
Teachers now are going into, Florida teachers are going into classrooms with all kinds of new rules, a teacher's bill of rights that the state passed, curriculum changes that the state passed. What are you hearing from your teachers? Are they confident and prepared that they know exactly how to meet the guidelines, what to steer clear of, how to teach things within the guidelines of new state laws? Is there a real confidence level there?
Well, we have a confidence level on the certain groups of what the experience is. In our 10 years plus, we have about maybe 8,000 teachers in our Broward County schools. So that gives them a little bit more of an understanding of, what I can really do and can't do, but there's that uncertainty what if I misunderstood? What if I misspoke? What if, false allegations happen? When there's this attachment that you may be arrested, that you can have your teaching certificate revoked, I mean, really, even if you throw an $80,000 salary at somebody, when you're already entering into a profession that you're villainized and you are the person that is not doing the right thing, when you haven't even started or gotten to the classroom, why would you want to get into education?
But is that a concept, or is that really happening on the ground? Because all of these laws come with processes.
Right.
So I guess my question is, a teacher is going into the classroom in a couple of weeks, there's the curriculum laid out. Is there, to your point, like a chilling effect, or is there a real confidence, like okay, here are my guidelines, I can do this?
Right. There is a confidence, again, with different levels of our educator. And you have to remember also, the new educator coming in, go and do the research. College education is basically null and void. So we are getting people with coming in after a second career or third career, or they haven't been able to get something in what they've majored in their 4-year degree. So they're trying out teaching. And most of them all want to come in because who doesn't love children? And we've got something to give to the child. But then comes everything else. You have to go back to school, get your certification, you have to pass all these tests, you have to perform, you have to learn certain district ways and understanding. So that's an impact also. And then comes the low salary and the high cost of living. So all of this impactfulness, and then you have to stand in front of children for 6.5 hours a day, and you not only have to teach the curriculum per the standards, then you have all these extra rules that have come in by people that aren't even educators. So there is a little bit of a shakeup there where we have to have more conversations, and we have to depend on working with our district to have these conversations, to get that understanding front and center, to where you're going to be in the classroom and you're not going to be harmed and you're not the villain.
I think people are now looking and watching at the school process like never before in this state, so we will be watching all those issues. You crammed a lot of issues into our little 8 minutes here.
Right.
I really appreciate you coming in.
I appreciate
best of luck in the school
conversation.
School year. All right, keep us in touch.
All righty, have a great day.
You too, thanks.